conflict between Israel and Gaza has once again captured global attention, with cycles of violence, ceasefires, and fragile truces marking the latest chapter in a decades-long struggle. Recent developments, including a breakthrough in hostage negotiations, have led to a temporary truce, allowing residents of northern Gaza to return to their homes. While this truce provides a moment of relief, the underlying reasons for the war remain rooted in a complex mix of history, politics, and regional power struggles. The conflict between Israel and Gaza is deeply rooted in the broader Israeli-Palestinian dispute over land, sovereignty, and national identity. Gaza, a densely populated strip of land bordering Israel, Egypt, and the Mediterranean Sea, has been a focal point of this struggle. After Israel's withdrawal from Gaza in 2005, the territory fell under the control of Hamas, a Palestinian militant group designated as a terrorist organization by Israel and many Western countries. This marked the beginning of a period of frequent clashes, blockades, and military operations. The primary driver of the recent escalation was a combination of long-standing tensions and immediate triggers. Issues such as the expansion of Israeli settlements, disputes over holy sites in Jerusalem, and restrictions on Palestinian movement have fueled resentment. These underlying grievances are compounded by periodic flare-ups, such as rocket attacks by Hamas and retaliatory airstrikes by Israel, which escalate into broader conflicts. The latest war in Gaza was triggered by a series of events that reignited tensions in the region. The initial spark came from violent clashes between Israeli security forces and Palestinians at the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound in Jerusalem, a site revered by both Muslims and Jews. This was followed by Hamas launching rockets into Israeli territory, prompting a strong military response from Israel. Calculations reveal the devastating impact of this conflict. According to UN reports, the latest hostilities resulted in the displacement of over 1.5 million Gaza residents, with thousands of homes destroyed. The Israeli military conducted targeted strikes on Hamas infrastructure, while Hamas fired over 10,000 rockets into Israeli cities. Tragically, both sides suffered significant casualties, with hundreds of civilians, including women and children, among the victims. The breakthrough in hostage negotiations that led to the current truce was a rare moment of diplomacy in an otherwise relentless cycle of violence. Under the terms of the truce, Hamas released several Israeli and foreign hostages, while Israel agreed to lift its closure on northern Gaza, allowing residents to return to their homes. However, this temporary peace remains fragile, as the root causes of the conflict remain unaddressed. At its core, the Gaza conflict is driven by a lack of political resolution to the Israeli-Palestinian dispute. Decades of failed peace negotiations have left both sides deeply distrustful, with no clear path to a two-state solution. The humanitarian crisis in Gaza further exacerbates the situation. With unemployment rates exceeding 50% and over 80% of the population reliant on humanitarian aid, Gaza's dire living conditions create fertile ground for radicalization and resentment. Israel, on the other hand, views Hamas as a direct threat to its security. The group's charter calls for the destruction of Israel, and its use of rocket attacks and tunnel networks for militant operations underscores its hostility. For Israel, maintaining a military blockade and launching periodic offensives are seen as necessary measures to neutralize this threat. However, these actions have also drawn international criticism for their impact on Gaza's civilian population. A key factor complicating the situation is the involvement of regional and global powers. Countries like Iran provide financial and military support to Hamas, while the United States remains a staunch ally of Israel, providing billions in military aid annually. This geopolitical dimension adds layers of complexity, as external actors use the conflict to advance their own agendas, often at the expense of peace. The temporary truce allowing Gaza residents to return to their homes is a small but significant step toward easing the humanitarian crisis in the region. Families who fled the fighting are now rebuilding their lives, though many return to rubble and uncertainty. Stories of resilience, such as children returning to damaged schools and markets reopening amid the ruins, offer a glimpse of hope in an otherwise bleak situation. However, For lasting peace, both sides must address the root causes of the conflict. This includes negotiating a political resolution that ensures security for Israel and sovereignty for Palestinians. International actors must also play a constructive role, prioritizing diplomacy over military aid and encouraging dialogue rather than division. Without these efforts, the current truce risks being another short-lived pause in an endless cycle of violence. The Israel-Gaza conflict is a tragic reminder of the human cost of unresolved political disputes. While the recent truce provides a glimmer of hope, the road to peace remains fraught with challenges. It is a conflict that demands urgent action, not just from the parties directly involved, but from the global community as well. The question remains, can diplomacy and compromise succeed where violence has failed? Stay informed by subscribing to my YouTube channel for in-depth analyses and breaking news updates. Follow me on TikTok for concise updates, and let's discuss in the comments. What steps should be taken to bring lasting peace to the region? Share your thoughts below.